What's up, guys? This is our first live show. We got the live call in. All you got to do is go to the descriptions, and there's a link, and then I'll bring you in through StreamYard. It's pretty easy. So, we're just talking all things college football. Just don't get me kicked off YouTube. Keep it PG-13. And I'll start off with a little bit of something I was thinking of yesterday that pertains to college football. While we wait for live call in, I was thinking about Deion Sanders. So I have the thought that Deion he never will have a dynasty like Saban or what Kirby's building, and this is why. He's pretty abrasive. He's got to be the guy, big alpha dog. And those guys kind of wear on you after a while. When I say wear on you, wear on the program, wear on the boosters, wear on the ADs. They wear on the players. He's got cameras in there. Now, what I think Deion does very well is he can bring in a culture very, very fast, almost overnight. Not very many guys can do that, but it does come with its faults too. I don't see Deion staying longer than 4 or 5 years at Colorado or anywhere, truthfully. So I think a guy like that, if things don't go as planned, it's not going to be good. I think his ego won't let it be good. It's just going to be. It's not going to turn out well for everybody involved. He's just not that type of guy that's going to sit there and lose or be average. He's got the camera crew in there. I think that wears on people too. I don't think kids necessarily want to see everything that they do on camera. It's all fine and dandy until you rewatch it, and then it's pretty humbling. So look at the Last Chance U crew. Both segments, when they did 2 seasons, it was totally different the second season because they didn't like the people that they were on camera. They didn't realize, how they acted. And that brings me to, another coach, Jason Brown. Definitely a lower level, not of a coach, I'm not saying that, but lower level of programs that he rebuilt. But he comes in, he rebuilds them, he brings culture in right away. And let me fix my mic. He brings culture in right away. And, but he's a big alpha. It's his way. That wears on people. He'll come in, flip a program, and get it going almost overnight. And then he's out in 4 years. He just wears on the boosters. He wears on the administration. And I think that's what Deion is going to do and be. It's not a bad thing. It's not a knock. He can rebuild a program. Lane Kiffin's kind of the same way, flashy. Says stuff on camera all the time. Sometimes they don't pan out, like get your popcorn ready. And then he's there 4 or 5 years and then he's gone. So that's just kind of my thoughts on the Deion situation. I don't see him being a Saban or a Smart that stays and really builds a true dynasty. I think he'll do a lot of winning in college football. I think he's going to get a lot of recruits. I think a lot of teams are worried. And boy, let me tell you my road path to Deion. I think he fixes Colorado. He might win a Pac-12 championship. I don't know. It'd be close. Maybe year 3 or 4, he'll win a Pac-12 championship. He'll come back one more year. They'll have kind of an off year, and then he'll leave. And he will go to a place like Miami, because Cristobal's not the answer. All the Miami fans know that. And boy, is there a bigger flashy hire than Deion? And if he goes to Miami, we are in trouble for 4 or 5 years. Kiss all the Florida 5 stars and high-end 4 stars out the. I mean, nobody's getting them. That's going to be a. That will be the Great Wall. They're going to put the Great Wall around Florida, and boy, Florida and Florida State are just going to have to just get what they can get at that point, because Deion's going to fill his class. He's going to have the best 23, 24, 25 recruits in all of Florida if he goes to Miami. I was sweating him going to South Florida. I was praying they didn't pay him. And thank God he didn't, because we would be in real trouble instantly. Instant. You get a guy like that knows the South, knows the recruiting grounds down there. We'd be in a world of hurt, guys. And that's the truth. And so there's that. So I think Deion goes to Miami after Cristobal gets fired, after Colorado does some things. Obviously, he's got to prove himself at the next level. Miami would be a step up from Colorado. And then after that, he can have whoever he wants for 5 years. So, like I said, if you guys want to call in, the link is in the description. We're just talking a little Deion right now, and his road path to Miami, as crazy as that sounds. So, but yeah, if Miami, and that's a perfect school for him. I don't think he gets the FSU job right away. Norvell's kind of doing some things. I think Norvell's going to make the playoffs this year, and we're Norvell's going to, his roster is built different. He's kind of getting through the portal because they're not recruiting very well. And so, it's one of those things where it's feeling good, Holly. How are you? It's one of those things where they're kind of supplementing, but they're hitting on their players. They got a lot of good players down there at FSU. So I don't think Deion automatically gets that job, because I think Norvell's going to keep his job. I think Norvell gets a long extension after he makes the playoffs this year, and then we'll kind of have to see what they're going to do. And I don't think they're spending a whole lot of money in recruiting either, even in NIL or in the transfer portal, kind of the free agency. They're really not. I haven't seen anything, real splashy to where it's like making, Fox News or whatever. But I think that we'll have to see if it works. I don't think it's very sustainable. It's working for him right now, but all it takes is to get in a couple bad apples, and it'll ruin a program. So that's kind of the crapshoot you take, because you're taking these guys on a whim. Your evaluation process for high school is so much longer. I mean, you have a year, 2 years, you can really get to know them. What's up, bud?
How we doing, my man? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. I appreciate you taking my call. Look, I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. First-time caller. So look, I got a question for you here, and this is going to be you're going to have to kind of dig into an apples to apples type of comparison here.
Okay.
But I do want to get your insight on this. If you had to take the Miami program and a heaping pile of cow manure and put them side by side, which right now do you believe is more inclined to win a national championship first?
Who, Florida or Miami?
No, Miami or a heaping pile of cow manure.
Oh.
I know it's this. I've been digging in my head all day on this one. Looking forward to this stream.
I tell you who has a better chance right now of winning a national title. Okay, if me and you decided to hit the lottery, buy the University of Phoenix online, become a Division I program, start from the ground up, we still have a better chance than winning a natty. And just me and you, we're the coaches.
Yeah,
we're the NIL. We're everything.
Yeah, the quarterback. We'll play defensive back. We'll split snaps. If we have to. I think we could. Cody, I see where your head's at, man. I like your objectivity in this whole thing. But I believe that to be the case. When we hit the lottery, and then we eventually buy,
Akron?
the University of Phoenix. Yeah, we already have a stadium, right? They got a University of Phoenix stadium, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they do. That's more than what Miami does.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. Yeah, look, I mean, I've been that one's been churning in my head all morning, and I was looking forward to the stream. I knew you were having a call-in show. I just like, as soon as I get a shot to bounce this one off of old Co-Dog over here, I can't wait to get his insight. And I love it. I think you're 100% accurate in your assessment of which scenario plays out first, whether it's a cow manure / us hitting the lottery, buying the University of Phoenix, putting together some form of Division I program, NIL, the whole thing. I think we have a better shot.
Yeah, it's real bad down there. I mean,
it's real good. I mean, it depends on. Hey, real bad is subjective. That's subjective. It's real good for us.
Have you ever seen, ever in your life? You've watched college football for how long?
Oh man, I mean, it's as long as I've been able to understand what the difference was between college and pro. I've loved college football. So we're talking from the early, maybe mid to late 80s.
Okay, have you ever seen 6 coaches just up and leave? Not barring winning a national title, get better. They're not getting better jobs. They're laterally moving.
Yep.
They're up and gone.
Yeah, and I saw your video the other day, and it had a very, very good correlation to just kind of the process that it looks like that Miami, or just the situation that Miami's in. In your prior work history, where all of a sudden, like, the job's not there anymore, and then you're looking at these other guys and like wondering, well, if that's the case, then these people are leaving for a lateral move or even a downgrade in that regard. So to be honest with you, it's kind of twofold, right? One, when you fire coordinators, you're typically gonna lose position coaches. It's you lose an offensive coordinator, you lose a wide receivers coach. Those two a lot of times are attached to the hip. Linebackers coaches, defensive coordinators, things like that. But it doesn't feel like these are these coaches are attached. Like Kevin Steele just said, "I'm done. I'm out." Yeah. Alabama's going to give me the same job. But then you had Charlie Strong. Charlie Strong could have been promoted to the defensive coordinator role and didn't. But yet here they go. They're all moving. They're one after the other after the other. They're just taking different jobs. And again, to your point, these aren't like better jobs. Kevin Steele so far is the only one that was like, he took the same role at a better organization.
Yeah, but
everybody else is just like getting the hell out of Dodge.
This is his second or third time there.
Yeah, it actually is. This is at least his second. He coached at FSU for a while. He was a linebackers coach. He's been everywhere, man. That guy is a journeyman when it comes to college football. He's
but you expect a guy like that to be kind of rock solid, not dip in year one.
Yeah, I don't know if well, Cristobal is a defensive guy, right? Is he an offense? Cristobal was an offensive guy, right? Yeah. I don't
know what. I've never seen him develop anything, so I don't know what he runs.
I think he was an offensive lineman for Miami, and I think he was the offensive coordinator at a couple of different places. Ole Miss kind of stands out to me. But yeah, to your point, like, no, man, I haven't seen
Even
a
Scott
mass exodus
Frost,
like this.
when Scott Frost took over Nebraska, he did not lose anybody year 1, year 2. It wasn't
No,
until year 3 they abandoned ship.
yeah, yeah. When they knew that the ship was going down, right at that
Yeah.
point, after multiple years of not being able to have a winning season, or at least just one that's going to meet the booster standards, then yes, yeah, I would expect coaches at that point to start making moves for themselves and to make sure that they're protected, their families are protected, things like that. But in this situation, like you're talking about year one, after they just brought in that recruiting class, and you still have guys who are like, nah, no, I don't. The talent coming in isn't enough to keep me here
Well,
long term.
they have no quarterback either.
Yeah, Tyler Van Dyke isn't all of a sudden going to be the Tyler Van Dyke of 2 years ago. Like that, we
Yeah,
saw
they'll
this
have to
year
get
that he was a
somebody
very
in the
broken
portal
guy.
in the spring.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
There's just
you're
I don't see a lot of I don't see a lot of promise there. They rotated just in the FSU game, and I didn't really pay much attention to Miami outside of that game, but I just watched that one game, and they were just rotating quarterback after quarterback after quarterback, and just they were all just getting destroyed. Like I don't know which one of those three that I watched in that game do you believe that you're going to be able to put in as your marquee or your QB1. I don't think anybody's got it. It's got to be Tyler Van Dyke. The other ones are just trash. And Tyler
yeah.
Van Dyke is only just standing outside the dumpster. He's the one, who maybe isn't in the dumpster, but he's just
Yeah.
like one parking spot over from it.
Yeah. Oh, he's in the parking lot for sure. He's in Republics or
Yeah.
whoever you guys got down there. We have waste management. He works there.
Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
ain't clocked in yet.
He's waiting for the truck to come. We bring it in. Like, come on, it's over here. The dumpster's over
What?
here.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. And I get being excited, but when you make comments like, "Oh, this is the best staff ever built," and Cristobal handpicked these guys. Well, yeah. What do you mean? Yeah, you handpicked them.
Yeah,
That's what
what
you're
coach
supposed to
doesn't?
do.
Yeah. I mean, well, okay, so I will give him credit. I mean, any coach that comes into FSU automatically has to take Odell Higgins. He's like the couch. He just comes
Yeah,
with the house, man. But Odell's a great coach, and he's a great recruiter, and he's just an FSU staple. So that's maybe the one scenario where I can see that, like, yeah, that all of these guys are your guys. You went through a vetting process.
yeah,
You interviewed them. You picked them. You went through the whole contract negotiation with them to tell them how much you thought they were worth. You went against other schools potentially to 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 beat them in regard to money. So yeah, they're your guys. They're all
yeah.
your guys.
And there were. I mean, there's coaches on there that have had success. Charlie Strong,
Yeah.
you know, um, Kevin Steele had a top 2 or 3 defense with Bama. I think he won 2 natties over there. So you got guys that have been at winning places and know what a winning team practice like.
Yep.
But I don't know. It You know what it kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of the dysfunction of the Willie Taggart era. How you guys
Oh.
ran. You
Oh,
guys
thank you.
ran that hurry up offense, but never practice it in practice.
Right.
And the linemen were like begging to get off
Oh
the
yeah.
field,
They were
falling,
cramping because they
flopping
hadn't
over.
practiced it.
They were on the air. They had the air mask on, sucking wind
Yep.
because they did no conditioning for hurry up offense. He wanted to run it like Tennessee, and they're like, "Oh, we don't do this during practice." You
That was
remember
awful.
that?
Oh, I remember it. Within the first couple of games, they were talking about the conditioning being a problem. Well, Kendall Briles was our offensive coordinator, and he was running. I mean, Kendall Briles is, he comes from that family, like that Baylor lineage, right? So, but that's what they do there. That's always what they do. They don't ever huddle. They don't ever give those guys a breather. Like if Kendall Briles was the offensive coordinator the entire offseason, and it wasn't like it wasn't like he got hired like 3 days before the first game.
Willie's like, nah,
What the hell are they
we'll save
doing?
that
How are
shit
they
for
not
game day.
conditioned? Ugh. That'll be a dark chapter in FSU history. I mean, that was an awful, awful thing. So if you look at it, it's Bobby Bowden, it's Jimbo, Taggart, and now Norvell. If you take the Taggart piece out and just, my God, just erase it from my memory, I don't hate those three coaches for a 45-year span. The Taggart part is just like, it was the black eye on FSU. It was just like,
book is still out on Norvell, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. Look, I mean, he's got a ton of talent this year. We've talked about it, a lot of talent coming back. They've done a great job at keeping talent in, where these guys could have potentially explored going to the NFL. But here's I'll put this out right now. Jordan Travis has a history of getting injured. He got injured this year in the Louisville game. He had the option to sit out. I want to say the Boston College game that was after that. He played, but I don't know. Like, so Jordan's a guy who has matured, I think, greatly under Norvell. But if you're one snap away from having to hang your hat on Tate Rodemaker, this whole setup of what FSU is bringing back hinges on whether or not Jordan Travis stays healthy. And that's if he stays healthy this year. We could have a great year. What the hell are we going to do next year? Because
you're going to do what you always do.
We'll
go hit the portal.
Go to the portal and pray for the best.
Yeah.
Look, I wonder if there's a situation now where it's like guys who are quarterbacks at respective schools, whatever. Like maybe let's just use a Sam Hartman as a random example, right?
Yeah.
Sam Hartman sitting at Wake Forest. So let's just for posterity here. So there's a guy like Sam Hartman sitting at a school who's like, okay, I'm watching FSU over here win games. I know that Jordan Travis cannot play another year. I'm going to sit with my school this year and go into the portal hoping, or maybe even communicating with FSU ahead of time, or putting some feelers out there. Maybe these guys are starting to see that there is an opportunity at FSU for quarterback next year. And they just start already kind of planning ahead, and for a player standpoint. I hope that's the case for FSU's sake.
I think that's happening more than what we think.
I believe so as well. Yeah,
because
I mean, look at the kid from Pitt. The kid from Pitt that went out to USC. His name eludes me right off the top of my head, but I mean, he went out and balled last year. But you had to know that with Kenny Pickett leaving, he was looking at this like, I'm going to stay at Pitt until Kenny's gone. Kenny went to the NFL. This kid was like, I'm not playing around with another quarterback and letting that tank my potential draft stock. As soon as Kenny Pickett was gone, this kid was in the portal and he landed at USC. Like, I think that might be the scenario that we'll see in the future for quarterbacks going into the portal. It's a risky proposition because we're probably only going to take one, and it's going to be a 1-year guy. Or maybe a 2-year guy.
You can get a sophomore and have multiple years.
Yep. Yeah, but we have Brock Glenn coming back in. I mean, we're coming in this year, and then we've got Croman Hook as a 5-star kid. I mean, these are guys who haven't thrown a pass for us yet, but it's not like we don't have some talent about to be ready to play. We'll see. A 1 or 2-year guy would be ideal. But I think that's kind of what we're expecting, is that someone sees the void and the vacuum that FSU is going to have at quarterback, and there's a guy that can come in and step in for a year, maybe 2.
I mean, coaches leave every year too.
Yeah, for sure.
And here's the thing, it's evident that the whatever the spell that Saban had on Bama players. Toss that out the window, right? Because half his offensive line was gone. So, I mean, those guys are leaving left and right. I mean, they're not leaving like what mass exodus like Texas A&M, but they're leaving. they're done with this sitting for 4 years and praying that they hit 1 year. That is done. So I think, you may not get a guy that has a ton of experience, or you could get a guy like out of the kid from Coastal Carolina
Yeah,
that just wants to take the step up to a better winning program
sure.
with more, you know, NIL money has some to do with it, which I was kind of talking. You guys I haven't seen where you spent a bunch of money, but I'll tell you something that's interesting. I was watching that Gator Collective deal that Shelly did on last Saturday.
Oh yeah.
And it's pretty crazy how when you say, like, this person knows somebody, and like the connections to the teams, like, yeah, there's probably 150 Division I teams, but the linebacker that he interviewed knew Deuce Spurlock, our transfer coming in from Michigan, went to high school with them. So there's always, if you're talking the FSU feeler situation with I think you probably got like 75 kids, 100 kids on the roster. There's always feelers out there. What's it like over there? Or, you know what I mean? Somebody knows somebody.
Oh, they talk for sure. For sure. They want to know what the culture is like. They want to know, just by the time that a transfer kid gets on campus, they've been able to vet the school much more in depth than a lot of high school kids. Now, look, the high school side of things has opportunities to do that as well. Because some of these kids they play together in high school. They go to a school and then like, hey, this is what's going on here. Maybe it's what you want, maybe it's not. But it's especially in the portal, because there's so much movement, and just these guys are just they're scattered all over the place. So yeah, to your point, you could have a guy that you played high school football with up in Michigan. You could have another one that's out in South Carolina, and then you're trying to figure out, am I going to transfer? Where do I want to go? And these guys are all bouncing stuff off of each other. The players talk, and you can see that a lot if you really want to get into social media, and really just kind of dig into it. They're all over each other's pages, and when one person says something, they're all responding. They're a lot closer knit as a player group than I think college football has ever seen before. And that I think that has a lot to do with the portal and the NIL stuff, and it gives them the opportunity to talk on a different level. Like before, who cares? Like your school's doing this, my school's doing this. We're not making any money, and I can't transfer anyway unless I want to lose a year of eligibility. Now it's different. Like, how much are you making? What kind of opportunity do I have over there?
Yeah, most definitely. Well, I kind of look at the transfer portal as a kid. So it's kind of like if you botch your first marriage, okay, in high school.
You
So
must know me very well, Cody.
yeah, I got one too. So you essentially in high school, you think everything is great and cupcake, and you are a high school recruit, and these teams are courting you and telling you all the good things, and then you get there and she moves in and you realize, like, she doesn't clean up her toothpaste in the bottom of the sink.
Yep.
Or she can't cook like she said she could.
Right.
And she's argumentative all the time, and the marriage goes just sour. Okay. And you're like, wow, that was bad. So then a year down the road, you decide, like, this isn't working. Let's try to find somewhere else. And you're a lot more hesitant. But
well, you're just smarter.
Yeah, you're just smarter.
You won't fall for this. Look, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You just get a little bit more wiser.
But take that also. If you got a kid that's been in the portal, you got a guy that's been married 3 times. There's something wrong with him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just I think it loosens up the pressure on high school recruiting too, and kids maybe going to a school that trying it, because they're like, well, I got a transfer in my back pocket. So you can go do a Dion thing, try it for Colorado. And if it doesn't work, and I just did a whole 15-minute deal about him, I don't think he'll ever win I don't think he'll ever have a dynasty. He's too abrasive. He just wears on people. It's like when at work when you have that rock star GM or salesman come in and he's like the guy all the time, but it comes with flaws. He wears on people. After year 2, it gets real annoying. And then year 3, he's like starting to itch to go somewhere else to improve something else or to prove himself somewhere else. Sure. I kind of feel like that's Dion. But
I'm going to tell Shelton that you basically just called him out on your stream.
Yeah.
Is the guy that just rubs everybody the wrong way.
Yeah. So I think, you even, I think of Dion kind of like Rex Ryan. Okay.
Oh, good analogy. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, he's just he's loud. He's in your face. Rex Ryan wanted the TV show in there. What was that? What's the
Hard
name
Knocks?
Of that? Oh, Hard Knocks. He wanted Hard Knocks in there. He's calling out Belichick, calling people out. But those guys can build culture overnight. They can get players in there overnight. But the problem is when you're loud and flashy and like that, it doesn't just wear on the players. It wears on the administration. It wears on everybody. It wears on the guy getting the jerseys ready. It just wears on everybody. And I think those guys are 4 or 5 year max, and then they got to go. They're not gonna do a Saban or Smart and stay at a college for 10, 12, 14 years and win a bunch of natties.
Yeah, I don't think they can. I think at some point either they know that their lifeline is coming to an end and they have to make a transition, or the administration just gets sick of it and kind of does the job for them. I'd almost throw kind of Lane Kiffin in that same regard.
I was about to say that. Yeah, Lane. I'm not a fan of Lane.
Yeah, he's a jackass, but again, he's a successful jackass.
I swear to you.
Just moves everywhere. Like, what was it? Hold on.
You lose. Okay.
Tennessee, USC, and another school in
plus the Raiders.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. That's what I was missing.
So you lose to You lose to your rival in the Egg Bowl. And you court Auburn into giving you an interview just so Ole Miss can turn around and give you a bigger paycheck. He was never going to Auburn.
No.
Are you kidding me? That's the worst program in the SEC to coach at.
Oh, yeah. The administration and the boosters are just up your ass from day one. And he's not going to deal with that. He can't have that. I don't think that the hire that they made is any better, even though Hugh Freeze has actually had a pretty decent start. That is not a marriage that's going to last very long. Again, kind of going back to the same situation. Hugh Freeze is a hired mercenary, and that is a awful, toxic relationship, and you can already see it. Like there's going to be some a domestic issue in Auburn between those two, for sure.
I tell you. Barring when Saban gets fired, the Alabama job is not going to be a good one.
Dabo will take that. Dabo will take that job in a heartbeat. He played for Alabama. He was a defensive back there. He'll stay at Clemson long enough for Saban to retire, and then the Alabama will go after Dabo, and then we'll watch the ship sail on that one shining decade that Clemson was actually relevant.
So I mean that makes a lot of sense, and he can kind of deal. He's not going to deal with the fans and boosters BS there.
Yeah, I mean he's clearly built a program kind of from ground up. I mean I wouldn't say it was Tommy Bowden that was there before him. So he's clearly been able to show that he can do that. He can do the job. And I think that when Alabama calls, you go home. I mean, look at Kevin Steele, who just took the same job
Yeah.
in a different city. So I think that's probably going to be the natural progression of Saban steps down, and him and Dabo, I think, have a little bit of a history, a positive history, together. So I think that'll
What?
be what Alabama does.
How long do you think? How long do you think Deion stays at Colorado?
Um,
5 years tops.
Yeah, I would say tops. I mean, he's going to be kind of the same concept of ride that wave until it starts the
Do you,
hype starts to drop off a little bit, and then you got to go somewhere else and kind of keep it. It's a difficult thing to do. Really depends on his success. If he stays, if he,
I
well, I
think he
get
wins. I think he wins the Pac-12 in 4 years. The fifth year, they kind of have an off down year, and he goes to Miami.
I can see that.
Because
He's a
I
Florida
think
guy.
Norvell. Think about this. So he would be year one Colorado. Norvell's, if he makes the playoffs and doesn't shoot himself in the foot this year, gets a big extension for 4 or 5 years. He will keep winning enough to not get fired over there at FSU. And truthfully, I don't think FSU really I don't think the alum and the boost. I think the alum want Deion, but I don't think the boosters want Deion. I don't think they want that. I don't want to call it a headache.
It's just a show.
Yeah,
a show.
they don't
I
want
think
that.
both sides of look. There's some people who love what Dion's doing, and that's fine. And there's a big
It's
contingent of people
D1.
from FSU
It's
who are
D1
just like,
last
hey, he's an
chance
FSU guy.
you.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
yeah, that's it.
That's
But
and they got the perfect character. They got Coach Brown again, just with more status.
yeah,
I mean,
that's very true.
I think he's shooting something for Netflix or Amazon, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
I mean, and that's coming with him.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, he has one of his sons has his own film production company, and that's who's always
And if
following
he
him
could get
around.
to
It's not technically
Miami,
Dion. Yeah.
watch
Oh
out.
gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
Watch out for everybody.
That'd be difficult. I mean, look, if the guy can recruit the way he is right now for Colorado, I can only imagine what he would do in an actual like fertile recruiting ground. He would be able to lock down the entire South Florida high schools. It'd be done, and potentially even Central, which would be awful if he could get up to IMG.
I mean, it would be complete between the three big schools there war if he gets down there at Miami. Like we think we have recruiting wars now. I can't even imagine if he gets down there in Miami, and he's perfect. He's a perfect fit for them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
I mean, it would seem a little odd for my eyes to see him in Miami colors, but I don't think it would matter to anybody. To him, I don't think he cares at this point. I mean, he's just going to go where where the
no.
money is. I could also I mean, gosh, depending on what the landscape looks like, I don't think he considered the Auburn job. I don't think he even looked at that opportunity because of the way that the boosters and the administration are so ingrained. Look, Colorado's going to be it's going to be one of two things, right? He's either going to win a bunch of games and he's going to move on because his stock goes up, or he's going to lose games and he's going to move on because he's going to try to hit the reset button and go somewhere else. I would expect him to stay in the South somewhere on his way back. I mean, he's from I want to say south of Orlando, around Kissimmee, maybe.
Yeah, but there's only certain programs that take him.
Yeah. It's almost like a smaller, I don't want to say a smaller school, but a school that has like some established winning history, kind of in the middle though, that needs that big boost, that pop, that maybe thinks that puts them over the top, and it could be an Ole Miss. Like that's an opportunity.
I got four schools after Colorado.
Okay.
Miami being number one. If they don't have another coach that they're locked into, which I don't think they care. If they can even sniff Deion, they'll
oh yeah,
they'll shoot the shot at him. Mississippi State.
Okay.
They put up with Dan Mullen.
They did. They did, but they had Dak. So, oof. Okay, I like it though. I like where you're at.
Okay, Texas Tech.
Okay, I like that.
And
And
then
I can see that, especially from the amount of time that he spent in Texas with the Cowboys. Okay, I see where you're at.
and then I think truthfully he could swing an Oregon job or a job that kind of has that. I'm trying to think of another program that has the funding.
Well, I mean, so here's the other thing to think about is like, let's just say that it's going to be at least a 4 to 5 year process before Dion looks for another job.
Yeah.
In 4 to 5 years, there's another round of expansion that's going to happen. So,
Yeah.
there could be a situation where an Oregon is on the outside looking in of being in the bigger conferences. That may be kind of the transition, right? Is that Colorado gets left in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
The Pac-12's got to figure out how they're going to stay relevant. And then now what you're trying to do is you're trying to move into the conferences that were left out of the two majors, like the Big Ten, SEC, right? There's new teams coming in. Now, if you're a coach, getting out of the conferences or the schools that were left out of those two conferences and getting into one of the schools that are in the two conferences, I think that might be the next natural progression of your career, is to get into one of those schools. You're either in or you're out, right? The bubble is exactly that. It's black and white. You're either in one of these two conferences that are making all the money, or you're not in one of those conferences, and then you end up whether Colorado or Oregon are the same job at that point. If Oregon's not in, I don't think there's any difference between it, right? Phil Knight's not dumping a bunch of money into a program that's not going to be in the top two conferences. I think that's going to be what we see in coaches.
Oklahoma, if it's not Texas Tech, I don't think he gets the Texas job.
No,
They don't like flash.
They don't like
not
that.
In their coaches. They don't. They like the most vanilla. I mean, look at the guys that they got. I mean,
Mac
Sark
Brown
is the most
Sarkisian.
Flashy as they have, and he's about as vanilla as a vanilla wafer. You know what I mean? But boy, Oklahoma would take him.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, especially with what Venables has been doing. If Venables can't right the ship, then he'll be out pretty quick too. So somebody will get a really good defensive coordinator. But
talk about a fertile program for the picking.
Yeah.
With big money.
Yeah, I can see that. That would make sense. Yeah, there's just, I mean, again, I think the expansion and what we're going to see in the landscape of college football with where the two primary conferences go with teams, I think that'll have a little bit of an influence, because like leaving Colorado to go to UCF, or even something that you find that is on the same level as Colorado, if they're not in one of the two big conferences, then what's the point? Like you're basically doing what all the Miami coaches are doing, where we'll bring it back full circle. You're taking a different job to have the same job, and there's a lateral move at best.
Yeah. All right, enough Dion talk. Jesus.
Yeah, you love that guy. Shelly loves that guy.
Oh yeah,
my man. I appreciate you having me on. I'm gonna go grab some of this lunch that my wife made for me. She keeps trotting into the room with different plates of different parts of what she's putting together. So I'm gonna go dive into a nice cold beer. I know you're not down here in Florida. It's February. I had to mow my yard today.
What?
Yeah, I had to mow my yard. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a winter cut. It's just, I got to make it look a little decent. It's been scraggly, but yeah. So I did that, and I'm going to go down here and jump into a beer and some delicious lunch.
All right, man. I appreciate you having you on. You're welcome anytime.
Look, my man, I appreciate it, man. Have a great day. Love the stream. I'll definitely be back on. I'll hijack this thing anytime I can.
All right. Have a good one.
Have a great day, man. Later.
All right. Bye. That was Holly from High Top Sports. Thanks for coming on, Holly. Boy, talk about just veering off into the rabbit hole of the Dion unknown, right? Just like that. Easy to do. He's a pretty big topic right now. So another thing I wanted to kind of talk about, Billy Napier. We're going to talk a little Florida for a second. Billy Napier has a press conference with Stadium and the Gal. about 20 minutes long. And I'll tell you, that guy is a word wizard. If he doesn't want to tell you an answer, he'll give you 30 minutes of explaining, but you're not going to get any closer to the answer than when you asked it. It's kind of incredible, and he doesn't feel douchey when he does it. You're like locked in listening to him. He takes a minute to think and speak, and you think you're going to get this awesome answer, and then you literally you ask him the question, and he thinks about it, gives you the answer, and 15 minutes later you're like, wow, now that I've thought about everything they said, that was not what I asked at all. And so you go in and try to bait him again, and he gives you 10 minutes of another long-winded spiel, and you're like, oh man, that's he gave me something there. And then you watch it back and you're like, yeah, he didn't give me anything. That was word salad for sure. So if Billy Napier, if it doesn't work out for Florida, I'm sure the White House is trying to find a new press person. So if it doesn't work out there, you would have a job in the White House for sure, because you are the king of word salad. I mean, it was 22 minutes. I was like, I watched it twice because I was like, did we get anything out of that? Nope. No, we didn't. So, it's not like Saban where he's just going to kind of brush you off and kind of tell you, no, I'm not answering that. Next question. It kind of feels like he is going to give you something. So it's pretty cool. Another thing, Andy Jean comes out, wide receiver for Florida. He's an early enrollee and has some pretty remarkable things to say about old Mertz. Says he's this year's Burrow. The guy's a leader. He's doing everything right in the weight program. Highly intelligent. Loves the game. Always watching film. Always trying to get better. Watching the practice film. Critiquing himself. Critiquing us wide receivers on our routes. Really knows the X's and O's. And I know it's just a Twitter post, and they're gonna or it wasn't a Twitter post, it was an interview that he did, but they're going to essentially, they're not going to get on there and rag on him, but to really lay out what he's doing as a quarterback shows you that these wide receivers are really believing in Mertz. I know Andy Jean's a young guy, but these athletes, they've been around. They know. It's kind of like when you get to the NFL, they know like week 1 in training camp if you're a dude, if you're gonna do anything. They know. They're like, yeah, this guy balls out, he can play. A couple of years ago for the Vikings, Adam Thielen and Cam Dantzler were locked up in mini camp going against each other. Cam Dantzler's from Mississippi State, cornerback, and he was like, yeah, this guy's a dude. He can hang in the league. So they know. I mean, even at high school, those guys know. They've been around so much elite talent, especially with 7-7 and all these camps that they're going to, and all these guys they throw with down in Florida. I tell you, Florida has a really cool thing. They do these 7-on-7 games. Destroyer, he does a podcast on them, and it's really cool. And those guys are just out there every weekend, and so they know a good quarterback, and they know when the guy's doing stuff right. If you would like to call in, the link is in the description. We'll have you on. Like I said, there's only Two rules: don't say anything to get me kicked off YouTube, and try to keep it PG-13. So, but yeah, Andy Jean didn't have to come out and say that about Mertz. He could have said, oh well, he's working, but to really come out and have a 2-minute in-depth statement about Mertz, about how hard he's working, and list off everything he's doing. I mean, that's a good thing, because Mertz, the word is out on Mertz that he's a bust, and these guys are elite athletes. They don't, they when a guy has been like Mertz, the big fish for a long time in his pond. He was a 5-star out of Kansas. And when he was a big man on campus at Wisconsin for a while. And when you're not the guy anymore, and there's one of two things that happen. They completely shut down and you never see them again, or they come back and they're better than ever. And I think Mertz is going to come back, and he's going to be better than ever. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be Joe Burrow. I'm not saying he's going to win Florida a natty. What I am saying is watch out, because the guy is grinding. It seems like everybody likes him. It seems like he's kind of taken over that starting quarterback role, just in workouts, of being a leader. And when you do that early, it lets everybody know that, that I'm coming back for redemption. And he's got a lot to prove. I mean, he's saving his draft stock. He has no NFL draft stock right now. None. He right now, he is not a practice squad quarterback for any NFL team. He's not going to make a league minimum. He's not going to get signed anywhere. So he can either come to Florida, play 2 years, ball out, and save his draft stock and get drafted, or he can go sell insurance or cars or whatever. I'm sure he's got a business degree. That's what most of those guys go to school for. But when you do that, when you've been the guy, and then you have, it didn't work out, and then you're moving to a new program, it's like a new lease on his football life. And I hope it works out. I hope he balls out. I think it'll be great. I also think that, the speed of the SEC is going to be different than the Big Ten. So he best be doing a lot of film studying. And these players are fast in the SEC. So that's kind of my little bit on Mertz. I hope he does good things. Like I said, let's see. We got 2 people live. If you guys want to, either one of you want to call in, hit the link below, and we'll get you on here. If not, I'm going to wrap this thing up in the next probably couple minutes. And we will get it pushed out to YouTube and Twitter, and we'll try another live call-in show next week, probably same time. So this kind of works good for my schedule. So let's see. Another thing on Gator football I kind of wanted to talk about is it's pretty impressive of all the early enrollees that we have. I think only 2 guys didn't early enroll, and I like that, because you're getting them into the program early. They can get the playbook early. They're getting into the college football weight program early, so that's good. Florida's kind of been flashing little things on social media. They're in the identity phase, I believe, about to wrap that up. But it's pretty cool to see them work out. It's pretty cool to see them kind of come together as a team, and it's just neat. It's a neat thing that they do. They put the highlights of the workout and stuff like that up. It's just a cool thing. I know a lot of programs do it, but I like it a lot. They don't release stuff every day. I wish they did. I kind of wish that they release like 2 minutes every day, 3 minutes every day. I tell you another thing I was kind of disappointed in. So Florida had a documentary series called The Journey that the University of Florida put on, and it was really good. It was just little clippets of like pregame, them getting on the bus, practicing, and it was little tidbits of the game and the coach speaking at the end. I don't know why they quit that. Like they stopped it mid-season. I don't know what happened. So I don't know if Billy Napier pulled the plug on it or what, but they didn't do every game either, which was kind of strange. So I wish they would. I wish they did every game. It was cool to see. So if anybody has connections to the Florida film program that does that, we like that stuff. That thing was cool. So keep pumping that stuff out. We'd like to see that more often. So yeah. So I'm gonna wrap this thing up. Thanks, Holly, again for coming on the show, and we will be back again. I got a couple videos coming out this week regarding Florida in the program and kind of some stuff that's new or stuff I kind of want to talk about. They're usually the shorter videos. They're usually about 10 to 13 minutes long. So check that out. Please like and subscribe as always. That really helps. It helps me keep wanting to make these. It helps if you guys would comment and give me ideas. You know, I'm kind of just trying to think up stuff every day, but it's kind of like sometimes when you're doing this, you get writer's block, and you're like, man, I don't know. So there's a couple of times I'll shoot a video and it won't be very good, and then I'll have to reshoot it because there's a video I made and I had to reshoot it 3 times, and it just got better over time of kind of what I thought about the situation. But like I said, thanks for coming on, Holly, and we will see you guys later. It's Cody with F is for Fanatics, and we are out.